I walked down the hallway, observing the quiet of the house. For the first time since I'd taken custody of it, I didn't sense anything with me. There was no spirit occupying the wood. My constant companion was gone. It was peaceful. After the battle we had just experienced, it was refreshing to have a place that was my own. I could hear Nick's soft snores from upstairs. He was just as tired as I was, and had fallen asleep almost before his head hit the pillow. There was a light on in the library, and I headed toward it. My body ached, my spirit felt heavy, but I finally knew who I was. I was the Windrose. For better or for worse, I was the fulcrum on which the four courts rested. On my watch there would be no war. The monarchs would have to bow to my very human desire for peace. Rubbing at my eyes, I held in a yawn. Fighting off an entire invading army from the Dark Realm and then growing the World Tree had left me with the sort of bone-deep exhaustion that gave princesses in fairy tales the ability to sleep for 100 years. Nick would have to fight off a dragon and a castle filled with thorns in order to rescue me. At the thought of him in blinding silver armor, sword in hand, probably with a trusty sidekick who told jokes to make him more palatable to modern audiences, I grinned. Reaching the library, I expected to walk in, turn off the light, and return to my handsome boyfriend asleep in my bed. There was someone in one of the chairs.
"Hey, kid,"
Malcolm said.
"Took you long enough."
"You're alive?" My voice was ripped from my chest, an empty howl of anger and fury. The fire that resided in my vessel ate upward, as though it was going to come out through my throat like I was some fire-breathing monster. Nick wouldn't come rescue me from the dragon. By the time he found me, I would be the dragon.
"In a sense,"
Malcolm said.
"You'd better sit down."
Malcolm's white hair had gone iridescent, and the lines on his face had smoothed out some, although he still looked old enough to be cast as wizened in some fantasy movie that needed a wizard. His mahogany skin seemed to gleam with some internal light. In his lap, he held one of the Autumn King's massive tomes. He looked exactly the same as I remembered, and also so different that I grabbed hold of the nearest piece of furniture to keep myself upright. I held onto the chair with both hands, glaring at him with such fury that I was sure my eyes had gone red. Underneath my fingers, the old leather armchair smoked. At the smell of burning skin, I looked down and pried my hands loose. There were 10 perfect fingerprints branded into the leather. Malcolm's eyebrows rose, 2 sharp arcs of concern. Every time I'd seen him, he looked composed, as though he always knew what he was going to say. Okay, yeah, the burning stuff with my bare hands thing was concerning. With confidence I didn't have, I took a seat in the chair. The leather was still warm from where the fire inside me had clawed out and burned what I'm sure was a very expensive piece of furniture. "I saw your body. You were dead." His eyes wrinkled in the corners, and he gave a rueful nod.
"Well, my body died,
But you didn't?" I took a deep breath, but the oxygen only seemed to feed the flames eating away inside me.
"No,"
Malcolm said.
"I'm sorry you had to go through all this alone, but it was necessary."
For a moment, I stared at him. I felt so many things, and none of them were good. At one point, I had believed he was my friend. He had been kind when I had needed kindness. We'd shared drinks and gossiped together. He'd given me advice and been there when my late nights turned into early mornings. And all of that, every kindness, every act of friendship, everything that had made me think he was a good guy, someone I could trust, all of it was a lie.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.